Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thanks for joining me again. For those of you new to the channel, this is the Roaming Prepper channel, and I'm your host, Pete. I just wanted to remind everybody as we get into 2025, you need to prioritize based on your situation. I'm seeing a lot of people, and they're well-meaning, they're trying to do the right thing, but people are taking the advice or the comments as gospel. They're taking it literally, and they're not thinking, oh, how do I adopt for my own circumstance? Let me explain. For instance, here's a good example. If someone says, oh, I'm new, I want to buy my first firearm, and you immediately get someone says, go get a Glock. I'm like, well, that's great. Glocks are great pistols. But you don't know this person's circumstance, right? You don't know what their experience is. Should they have a thumb safety? Are they completely clueless on firearms? Can they afford the Glock? Is there a cheaper option? Do they have the hand strength if they're elderly or they're disabled or if they've had a hand injury? It may not seem like a big deal to you, but for someone with arthritis, functioning the slide on a Glock 19 might be a problem. What are other options, right? A revolver might be much easier for that particular case. We lead with advice, and sometimes we don't ask questions, and it's hard to do on YouTube, right? But I would encourage all of you, if you get approached by someone new, or if someone gives you advice, don't start by acting, but instead start by asking. I'll say that again just for you guys to hold on to that. Don't start a new journey by acting, start by asking. What is my ultimate goal? What am I trying to accomplish? Do I have the knowledge to do what I'm planning or hoping to do? If I don't, do I know where to get the knowledge? Do I have a foundational understanding of what I want, how to get from A to B, so to say? Do I have the resources? And I've mentioned it on other videos. Time, energy, money. These are non-replenishable resources, right? Especially time and energy. You're going to have to balance preparedness for things that happen versus going to work, taking care of your elderly mom or dad, taking care of the kids, feeding the dogs, taking care of the chickens, whatever your circumstances. So when you get advice that sounds good, and it's often usually meant in a good, positive way, even the fear-mongery channels, they want to click their link and all that, but at the end of the day, most of these creators are like, well, I'm actually trying to help someone. So, come on, buddy, move over. You put your signal on and you are not turning around. There you go. Everyone's running a little slow this morning. It's cold. Ask yourself, is this applicable to me? And if it's not, how can it be? Is there an aspect of what I'm doing in my life, whether it's paying down debt, being prepared, learning shooting skills, fighting skills, exercise, etc.? But remember, at the end of the day, your circumstances will be different than mine. They'll be different from any of the other creators. We're all on a different path. And personally, nothing agitates me more. I've actually banned another creator from my channel because they got to where, well, if you're not doing A, B, C, and D and clicking these links and doing these things, you're not really a prepper. You're not a freedom fighter. You're not this. You're not that. Everyone's in a different place. Everyone has different circumstances, different motivations. Each of us needs to take the advice and apply it to our own circumstance. That's why I try not to be judgy on my channel and say, oh, well, if you can't do a 3-gun shoot, you're not a real prepper. Who the hell? What? That's stupid. Somebody will say, well, you need chickens or you're not a prepper. I don't have chickens. I'm petitioning to get chickens, but, and it's just because where I live, there's no properties for that. But that's the career path I chose. My company pays me to be here. And that's why I have the things I do. someone else's circumstance, you might have inherited grandpa's farm. Well, now you have a farm. Now you can't go anywhere because you got to deal with the farm. So, you know, going to Vegas too much is not an option because guess what? Somebody's got to feed those chickens. Everybody's circumstance is different. When you hear good advice, ask yourself, how do I make it apply to me? How is this relevant to me? And if it's not relevant, leave it alone. And that includes the fear-mongering stuff of people are saying, oh, they're going to attack cities and communities and all this other stuff. And you live in a farm by yourself in the country, you're probably not a target of Al-Qaeda at that point. They know better than to go out there. If they're saying, oh, there's mad cow disease, and you live in the middle of Manhattan, chances are you're not going to see a lot of cows in Manhattan. Not your issue, right? Hurricanes on the Gulf Coast rarely make it to Minnesota. You don't prep for a hurricane in Michigan. You don't prep for a blizzard in New Orleans, right? That's what I'm saying. Look at the information and understand how it applies to you. And if it does not apply to you, or if it's not relevant, or if it sounds outrageous, then you need to assess for yourself if it's even worth really paying too much mind to. And if you do think it's relevant to you, understand how. And again, the time, the energy, the money, those are resources that are not easy to replenish. Time you can't replenish. So understand the consequences, the cost to do one thing over another, because you have to choose. You do the prepper thing or you take the kids to school. I mean, you know, it's just life. And most of all, don't sit there and pass judgment on other people because their path is different from yours. I'd rather have 100 people in an apartment who are prepped for a week than have one guy prepped for 3 years who would actually be disruptive to a community because they know everything and would try to bully everyone. That person is the problem, not the 100 that are in the apartment trying to make ends meet. So anyway, just something to think about as we go into 2025. I'm going to try and keep a much more open mind as to where other people are in their own personal journeys and try to adjust my messages so that people can adapt it. And again, understand what your risks are in your area, in your life, in your day-to-day. And it'll tell you, that alone will tell you where you need to spend your time and money. In any case, folks, that's it for this one. You guys be good, be safe, be careful out there. And I look forward to seeing you later on. Take care.